Hi, my name is Megan. Today is day 936 of long COVID. I'm not sure where to start on it. The list of symptoms have become so long. But I think before we go down the road of how far I've fallen, you should probably know who I was before this. I was an adventurer, a hiker, a scuba diver, and anything. I loved the world and everybody in it. I loved my family. I loved the smallest little details, gardening, flowers, all the beautiful things. Now I feel lifeless, like a zombie. I feel nothing, like emotionally. It's almost impossible to feel connected to somebody, which was a big part of my life. This started December 24th, 2019, when my ex-husband came up to visit for Christmas, and we all had an awesome time wrapping presents. That was my last moment of joy that I remember. I'll never forget what it felt like. It was just like a switch, like an on-off switch in my stomach, similar to the norovirus. How you could just feel that twinge of, ugh, something is wrong. Oh, that's not normal. And I said, we gotta hurry this up. And I have to get to bed because something doesn't feel right. And the next day I woke up and spent the entire Christmas morning laid out on the couch. Christmas Day, and damn near every day since. I've been bedridden. It starts with chronic fatigue syndrome. Just never quite recover. And then it kind of gets worse from there. The more you fight it. I was unable to cut my stress levels down because in April of 2020, the schools shut down here in Oregon. And I felt like I was responsible for the future education of my children. That every day, oh my gosh, they're missing learning this, they're missing this social, emotional connection. I was terrified and excited, also I would love to be a fun little teacher, a little hippie granola school where we learned all about nature and animals and math and took field trips via YouTube, of course. We went to all of the zoos and we watch how it's made and Mark Rober, and that really helped the kids to feel not so isolated. And then in July of 2020, I gave birth to our last son. Everything went well. It was a wonderful birth, very moving, and everything that I had ever hoped for. When we returned home, though, a day or two later, I got up to help make dinner or just host because my family was here. And my heart started racing, beating out of my chest, and I felt like I was going to pass out. And I didn't know what to do. Um, I told my midwife that what happened, and she said, "You're not supposed to be hosting people. Go lay down." So I did, but then that couldn't last for very long because, again, we had homeschooling with 3 other kids to take care of. That was the summer. They had to get to summer camp. Lunches had to be made. It's a busy life. No time to be disabled. No help. The POTS syndrome got taken over by the next terrible one, cyclical vomiting syndrome. And that has been the bane of my existence and what pushed me to the edge. That combined with the POTS syndrome is really unsurvivable. When I would wake up, I would have less than 60 seconds before this wave of hot would come down over my body, starting in my head, and I could feel it like fire going through my veins. And I would sweat profusely after that. And then my stomach would start to cramp uncontrolled, like poison cramp. And I would get extremely nauseous and start dry heaving. And it felt like I was going to throw up every time, but nothing ever came out. I'm not sure which was worse. After that came the brain fog. I thought that I had suffered a traumatic brain injury during one of my panic attacks, and I just couldn't remember anything. Where anything was, what I was just doing, why did I come in here, what was I needing to get, shoot, what did I need to just write down? It's so bad I had to download like a noted app so I can just quickly tap it and make a written note, just word vomit, word salad, everything I need to get out really quick before I forget. And then I have to transcribe it later. Having 4 kids at home and never having a break means that I don't get to transcribe those all the time. I get lost so easily. It's so overwhelming. I feel more like autistic, like this is neurodegenerative. I stutter when I get really upset. I get very frustrated. I can't connect what I'm thinking and trying to say to get out. I can't remember the morning by the afternoon now. It gives me so much anxiety to have to be responsible for things that I have to remember. I don't even like driving anymore. I also have developed irritable bowel syndrome, which is absolutely unfortunate. And it seems like I keep wanting to rank these in order of awfulness, but they all pose their own set of torture that can't be compared to the other. If you have never had irritable bowel syndrome, it is like everything, it's an emergency all the time. And there's no rationing, there's no reasoning, there's no waiting. There's no one more minute while I'm finished this meeting. There's no the baby is almost asleep. Just 5 more minutes. It's an emergency every time. Stress makes that so much worse. If I have a a mega stress event, it will destroy my gut for days. To the point where, like, I don't want to leave sight of the bathroom emotionally. Like, I don't feel comfortable leaving the sight of it. It makes me anxious to go outside. I don't really go anywhere. When we try to plan a vacation, or we start talking about trying to get out, doing something, not being trapped inside anymore, that's something I have to think about now. Like, what if I'm somewhere where I can't get to a bathroom? I'd rather not go. And that's heartbreaking for me. Being an adventurer, needing to see the world, needing to meet everyone. It's really hard. With the constant inflammation in my body, old injuries have begun to flare up. So I have tendonitis in my right ankle to the point where I shriek in pain and can't walk or carry anything. I wear a brace, but it only helps so much. I ended up buying like a peg leg brace because I need to be able to use my hands all the time with 4 kids and work. So I thought that would be the best hands-free method. But finances got tight and I couldn't quite get the hang of it. And so I returned it. And that was really a bummer. I know that stiff joints are also a symptom, and that hasn't quite been a big deal for me, but I have noticed that this knuckle has started to seize up in my grip. It's very painful. Feels like I have to crack it, but I can't, no matter how hard I try. I've noticed that spreading to this knuckle as well. So now both of those, and that's been kind of affecting my ability to grip and hold things. I developed tinnitus in my right ear about a month ago. That was really devastating for me because it's very important that I be able to have peace and quiet to destimulate my nervous system from PTSD that I've had for over almost 20 years now. And I've found my own ways to deal with that. And so having tinnitus means that this ear is ringing all the time, even right now. And when my kids talk to me, when I wake up, when I go to bed, sometimes I play music louder just because I don't hear ringing anymore. Sometimes I just deal with it because I want silence. But I mostly put on on a speaker campfire noises, or rain on a tin roof. I love that one. Or a deep rumble thunderstorm, and something else, a very soothing nature sound for me to focus on and not focus on the ringing. That's helped me. Unfortunately, that hasn't gone away, and now it might have turned into vertigo. Over the last 3 or 4 days, I've had these sensations that I was kind of rocking, like uneasy, feeling off balance, sometimes feeling like drunk, like you drank too much and you got, is it spinning? Is it not spinning? Am I moving? Should I be moving? Not sure. You know, it's very slight, but it's just started, and it did affect me during a pretty severe panic attack last week, where I tried to get up and fell over immediately because vertigo combined with POTS syndrome is a bad combination. There has been a time or two where I've had a skin flush reaction in my face to something that I ate, where my skin feels like it's on fire. It doesn't, it eventually goes away, but the first time it was with Aunt Jemima's syrup. Not saying anything bad about them, just I haven't had them in a very long time, and my son had made us breakfast and put syrup on the waffles, and I thought it was a special treat. And then right after that, kind of broke out in burny fire face. So that was a bummer. I don't really know what's causing that yet, or what triggers it, because it's been different each time. Another thing that has changed is I have a very high sensitivity to light touches. Like light, it's it feels overwhelming. I don't know if that makes sense, if anybody else is having that, but it feels too much, and so a sensation that I used to love, I now hate. I used to really enjoy being very active and having a nice exercise routine. You know, I'm not a big like heavy gym rat or anything like that, but I like staying active. I like being fit. I like being healthy. And now I am exercise intolerant. And I have a little shaker machine that I stand on, and it shakes me like an earthquake. And that helps me to kind of trick my body into exercising a little bit without the cardio part of it. So, of course, I'm not really getting that, and I do go for little walks to get me going, but I don't want to, you know, I don't want to get out of shape so far that I can't recover one way or another, you know. Once I started taking lorazepam to help with the cyclical vomiting syndrome, I was able to eat again. Not a lot, not like normal, but I was able to put food down. And so that meant I just went to town, and I ate as much as I could, anytime I could, and got myself a nice, like, 20-pound buffer, just in case, because I almost just starved to death. So I had been living with that for a while, but that wasn't what I wanted either. I hated living in fear that I was going to starve to death. So I had to keep on a little extra overweight. I get this all day, constant, tight chest. Just like somebody just tightened a bolt a little too much. And you just need to ease that pressure. It's like not too much where you can't go about your life, but it's too much to forget. I have extreme smell and taste. So I haven't been able to change my son's diaper since he's been born. Really at all. My partner does all of it. The times where he's out of town and I have to, it is so violently repulsive that I vomit and I can't eat for a while after that. The stress is terrible. It's that potently overwhelming. All smells are. Um, my partner eats a lot of eggs for protein and hard boils them. And when he pulls them out, I mean, I can't even kiss him when he has just took a bite of it. It's like oh, instant, overwhelming sensation of smell. There was a time where we were sitting on the couch and I smelled bacon. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm starving. That smells so good. And do you smell bacon? And my partner was like, no, I don't smell it at all. And I said, I will bet you $5 one of these neighbors is cooking bacon. And so I texted our neighbor to the south and she said, no, it's not us. And I was like, oh, dang it. I know I smell bacon. And then I remembered, of course, we have a neighbor to the north. So I texted them and they were cooking bacon. And then they offered me it and I ate all of it because it smelled so good. Anyways, besides that point, I smell and taste. I didn't lose it and I don't know what it's like to have lost it. I don't hear of many people getting it amplified, but mine has become so severely amplified that most smells make me nauseous. And the sight of food sometimes makes me nauseous. I can't eat potent spices anymore, which is terrible because I love food. I had PTSD before long COVID from an unfortunate incident when I was 17, and that has gone undiagnosed and untreated for almost 20 years now. I've just begun working on it now that I've realized the devastation that that can cause with long COVID, because it seems that long COVID is neurodegenerative and PTSD stimulates your autonomic nervous system all the time. So the two are combating each other. Just, I mean, above and beyond that, I feel like I have another. Can you have PTSD from multiple incidents? I'm not sure. But I most certainly know that I am terrified of pain. No. I can't do anything to myself that might be uncomfortable because I'm so afraid to feel any more pain. I took the Viome health test, the health intelligence test, and you have to prick your finger to get a blood drop. And that's never been a problem, but I could not do it. It made me feel repulsed. The thought of inflicting even the smallest bit of pain would trigger everything. And so I had to ask my partner to help me do that. So I'm now see a therapist now, and I'm trying to see them weekly, and I recommend that everybody does, because long COVID is feeling like you're dying. And it's not just feeling like you're dying, it's feeling like you're being murdered. The COVID strangle is your nervous system choking you. It's your body killing you. So how can you trust that? after it's healed. I mean, this is even down the line after we may or may not find a cure for this. How do you go about trusting all the people who abandoned you? I don't speak to my father anymore over this because when I felt suicidal and terrified, and I was doing research to figure out what was wrong with me, this was in the beginning, I found dysautonomia. I found the POTS syndrome. And I was so happy that I had a something to point to. This is what I have. Look, it's in a book. A doctor can tell you about it. Like, it's verifiable. Just because I look okay, I'm not okay. This is an invisible disease. My whole body is failing me, and I look fine. You can't tell from me walking in the grocery store that my days feel numbered. I'm not sure where a headache stops and a migraine starts. It just kind of all feels like a blur where you really want to be in the dark and have ice packs all over your head and your eyes. And it's really, really hard to parent that way. It's impossible to work like that. I just recently saw a video of a woman who had begun losing her hair, and another video of a woman who had lost most of her hair. And my God, I just wanted to hug her. If you see this, I love you. I don't know who you are, but I wish I could hug you. You're so brave. I've begun losing my hair. It has begun thinning around the crown right here. And as you can see, I have very long hair. I have a lot of hair. And I don't know what I would do if I lost it. I know it's just a material thing. For so long, I wonder what was wrong with me. Nobody believed me. The doctors didn't believe me. My family didn't believe me. My friends didn't believe me. My partner didn't believe me. My coworkers didn't believe me. My supervisor didn't believe me. I've questioned my sanity a lot. Is this really happening? Am I okay? Am I not okay? And then the symptoms start again. Something happens, something this, and it triggers that. And yeah, it's real. It kind of triggers the anxiety a bit. Like something's wrong. Everything makes you feel like something's wrong all the time. There was a point where I started to wake up and feel like I need to start making amends to people that I've wronged and start telling people how much I love them, because I don't know how much longer my body can hang on to this. Like, I know in my mind I won't give up, but like, how far can you push your body? How much torture can one person endure before their body gives out? I'm not sure, but for the last solid year and a half, I've been riding that fence. and pushing that limit. And I know for a fact now that I am fireproof. I have burned in hell for years now, over and over and over again. I have become a totally different person. And I know that if I can just get my body back, that I would be so resilient. I would do everything that I always said I wanted to. Bucket list, here I come. I started to feel so alone, secluded in the house, not going anywhere, seeing anyone, not really talking to anyone. Then after people started to not be able to relate, I stopped asking them questions. I turned inward. I mean, I was begging for help. Don't get me wrong. It just seemed it's as if everybody I asked for help either couldn't or wouldn't do anything about it. I'm not one to ask for help in my life, but I feel like my life was on the line here a time or two. And if anybody ever needed help, it would be at that time. I once had a best friend through this. Somebody I thought helped save my life at one point. Somebody who promised me they would never leave, even though things were getting harder. And I was not doing well. And even they left. That's the torture part, isn't it? You start to beg and plead. What would I give up? What did I do to deserve this? I would give up this. I would give up that. I would give up. I mean, seriously, you really start to consider, like, could I beg and plead? Is there a higher power? Is prayer a thing? I'm not here to discuss that. Everybody has their own opinions. But I've had some very, very deep conversations with my soul. I've lost most of my support system through this because over 2 years it's been hard for me to hold on. I can't imagine anybody else wanting to. My partner is, of course, a unicorn. I can only relate this experience so far as the movie Castaway. Like, even now, I am sitting alone in a room, staring into a camera, hoping that this might reach somebody who needs to hear it. Maybe somebody who has hit their wall. Maybe somebody who has a best friend and they don't know how to help them. Maybe anybody trying to figure out more about what it's like. It is scary. Protect yourself from this. My worst fear in life worst fear, real talk, was traveling abroad and getting some exotic tropical virus that stayed with you forever and changed who you were. And that came to me. I am literally living my worst fear, trapped in a dead body. If you're watching this video and you feel like you've hit a wall and you don't know how to keep going, I understand. But I'm on day 936. If I can make it this far, so can you. If I can sit and burn in hell, so can you. Just keep going. We will make it through this. I'm going to keep experimenting with different things. I'm going to keep researching. I'm going to keep looking for a cure. And if anybody cares, I will make more videos